Attention, look around you and discard the comfortable lie. The individuals who receive automatic respect are never merely the nicest ones. The voices everyone leans in to hear are rarely the loudest. The people who consistently win the high-stakes game of life are not simply the smartest. They possess a crucial governing knowledge that you don't. They have mastered a secret that has been quietly effective for over 500 years, a ruthless philosophy from the mind of Niccolo Machiavelli. Most people mistakenly believe that influence is inherently corrupt. They are fundamentally wrong. Influence is simply a tool, and like any tool, its moral value is neutral. Its impact is solely defined by the hand that wields it. Today, you will not just learn about influence. You will learn the 9 psychological weapons that make someone untouchable. These are not soft, feel-good tips. These are the dark, strategic truths that draw a clear line between those who manipulate reality and those who are perpetually manipulated by it. By the end of this video, you will see precisely why certain people naturally command every room they enter, while others fade into the background. You will understand the subtle mechanics of psychological influence that ensure they are never fooled and always secure their objective. Machiavelli's strategic mandate cuts through the noise. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Applied to you, this means your immediate environment is a reflection of your self-control. If you are surrounded by chaos and manipulators, your strategy is fatally flawed. Now, drop this affirmation in the comments and commit to the necessary trade-off. I choose power over being liked. I will master the tools of influence. But heed this warning. The vast majority of people will watch this video, nod their heads in agreement, and then retreat back into their status as psychological victims. Don't be most people. Your journey to mastering power starts now. Let's reveal the secrets of strategic ruthlessness. Number 1. The mirror trap. Influence through affinity. Here is a psychological principle that will fundamentally dismantle your current approach to social influence. People rarely succumb to the charms of what is profoundly different from them. They are instantly captivated by what perfectly reflects them. Most men attempt to impress others by loudly showcasing how special or unique they are. This is strategically backward. The ultimate power move is to become a perfect, nuanced mirror of the individual you are engaging. Ask yourself, who receives your deepest trust? Individuals who seem just like you. Who instantly relaxes your guard? People who share your energy, your conversational pace, and your core values. Machiavelli observed the primacy of visible alignment. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. The mirror trap exploits this truth, because people's single greatest obsession is themselves. When you subtly reflect their mannerisms, pace, and interests, you become psychologically irresistible. The blueprint for the human chameleon. Your goal is to become a human chameleon by mastering non-verbal mirroring, to create immediate, profound, unconscious rapport. Match the body. If they lean forward, you slowly lean forward 3 seconds later. If they cross their arms, you adopt a similar posture. This creates a powerful feeling of psychological alignment. Match the tempo. If they speak slowly and deliberately, you must consciously slow down your own speech. If they are fast-paced and high energy, match that dynamic. Mirror the vocabulary. Listen for their favorite high-frequency words, their jargon or expressions, and weave those exact words back into your own dialogue. This makes them feel deeply understood. Reflect the emotion. If they are genuinely excited about a project authentic excitement back. If they express genuine concern, reflect that concern. People seek emotional validation, not confrontation. Picture a high-stakes meeting with a potential client who is very reserved, formal. and speaks slowly. The naive approach maintains a fast, casual, high-energy sales pitch. Result: conflict and distrust. The client feels rushed and disconnected. The strategic approach instantly matches the client's energy. You slow your voice to their pace, maintain a formal vocabulary, and adopt their composed, patient posture. Result: unconscious trust. The client thinks, "This person thinks like me," and you have instantly bypassed the barrier of skepticism. Watch how truly powerful people operate. They make everyone feel like they are talking to a highly intelligent version of their best friend. That connection is not accidental. It is a precise, calculated strategy. Once you've established this mirror connection, you gain the trust necessary to slowly start leading them in new strategic directions. They will follow because they trust you. You are psychologically just like them. Number 2. The scarcity illusion. Value through withdrawal. Here is where most men fatally compromise their influence. They operate under the mistaken belief that being abundantly available makes them valuable. The psychological reality is the inverse. Scarcity makes you precious. Think about the most desirable commodities in the world. Are they universally accessible at any time? Number: they are defined by being limited, exclusive, and difficult to acquire. The exact same ruthless psychology applies to you as an individual. The more available you make yourself, the less people invest in valuing you. The more strategically scarce you are, the more profoundly they desire your attention. Machiavelli, when discussing the foundations of enduring power, advised, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." Applied to this context, fear of loss or non-access is a more reliable motivator than mere affection. This principle is not a license to be rude or intentionally cruel. It is a calculated strategy of scarcity that compels people to respect your time and attention. The blueprint for strategic scarcity. Your goal is to transform yourself from an unlimited resource into a precious high-demand asset. Here is how you construct the scarcity illusion. Deny immediate access. Even if your schedule is open, introduce a strategic delay. Instead of saying, "I'm free right now," state, "I can check my schedule for Wednesday morning." People automatically assign higher value to what they must wait for. Ration attention. You must not dispense your full focus indiscriminately. Reserve your deep, undivided attention exclusively for the people and situations that truly align with your goals. When you do grant someone your complete attention, it becomes a distinct, memorable privilege. Establish boundaries of presence. Do not be the individual who is perpetually on for everyone. Maintain strict, non-negotiable boundaries about when you are socially accessible and when you are focused on growth. Control the reveal. Do not betray your entire life story immediately. Let people discover the layers of your ambition, character, and resources over time. Mystery is magnetic. It sustains interest and commands speculation. Vary communication pace. Stop texting or emailing back instantly every single time. Introduce calculated variability into your response times. Sometimes respond immediately, sometimes take a few hours. This subtle uncertainty creates interest and forces people to mentally prioritize you. Consider a business development scenario. A potential partner emails you with a request for a detailed proposal. The naive approach emails back within 5 minutes with a lengthy draft demonstrating eagerness and immediate availability. Result: the proposal is taken for granted and loses perceived value. The strategic approach emails back a few hours later, or even the next morning, stating, "I received this. I can look at my capacity on Thursday to get this prioritized." Result: You have subtly communicated that your time is a limited, sought-after resource, increasing the perceived value of your eventual proposal simply because they had to wait for it. People inherently want what they cannot easily have. Your strategic mission is to become that thing, an individual whose access is earned, whose time is valued, and whose presence is treated as a privilege, not a right. Number 3. The emotional puppet master. Most men attempt to control others through blunt tools, logic, brute force, or exhaustive arguments. That is amateur hour. Real masters of influence control through the most potent human vulnerability, emotion. And the target of this control never even realizes the strings are being pulled. Every significant decision a person makes is emotional first, then justified with a fragile layer of logic later. Control the emotion, and you control the decision. Machiavelli understood that brute strength alone is insufficient for long-term survival. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. This means you must possess the fox's cunning to navigate the psychological landscape. Here is the secret. You do not control people by overtly forcing them to comply. You control them by strategically making them want the outcome you desire. Emotional levers for strategic control. The emotional states that govern human decision-making are predictable and exploitable. Fear of loss. People will exert enormous energy to avoid losing something they currently possess. Frame your strategic requests around what they might lose by not complying, not what they might stand to gain. Ego and status. Everyone wants to feel important and distinct. Make people feel like indispensable heroes or critical thinkers for pursuing the action you need them to take. Curiosity gap. Humans possess an innate, irresistible compulsion to close an information loop. Give them only part of the story and let them fill in the crucial blanks, often leading them precisely to your intended conclusion. Social proof and urgency. Nobody wants to be the solitary outlier. Create the subtle, pervasive feeling that everyone else is already participating in the action you want them to take. Furthermore, create time pressure, real or artificial, to force action before they engage their logical, critical thought process. Strategic application. Influence, not orders. How do you deploy this power effectively and avoid the amateur mistake of giving direct orders? To flatter and consult. Instead of stating, "You should use this method," ask, "I'm curious what you think about this new approach. Your insight here would be invaluable." They now feel smart and consulted, not controlled. To guide to a conclusion, instead of giving an order, ask a question that logically leads them to your intended outcome. What do you think would happen to the timeline if we tried method A versus method B? Let them believe the superior conclusion was entirely their own idea. To de-escalate disagreement. When they resist your suggestion, do not argue. Acknowledge their perspective and immediately redirect the flow of thought. That's a very valid point regarding the risk. I wonder if there's a strategic way to mitigate that risk while still achieving the best parts of both approaches. The person who controls emotions controls the ultimate outcome. But the core principle of this power is that people genuinely enjoy being led when they never realize they are being led. That is the work of the emotional puppet master. This segment focuses on information asymmetry and strategic intelligence gathering, a crucial Machiavellian tenet that maximizes leverage and minimizes personal risk. I will enhance the language, detail the collection and deployment strategy, and integrate compelling, relatable scenarios. Number 4. Information asymmetry, the unseen leverage. Information is the highest form of power, yet most people recklessly give theirs away for free. They betray their strength by telling everyone everything: their plans, their strategies, their vulnerabilities, and their weaknesses. The true strategist, however, operates like a relentless intelligence agency. They collect information like currency, hoard it, protect it fiercely, and only deploy it when the action guarantees an immediate strategic benefit. Machiavelli observed the fundamental strategic dynamic of perception. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. This principle is your guide. Your true resources and strategic depth must remain hidden. This is not about being secretive for the sake of mystery. It is about understanding that knowledge is leverage, and you must spend your leverage wisely. The intelligence collection system you must transform into a meticulous, silent collector of human data. Listen, don't perform. Discipline yourself to listen far more than you speak. Ask targeted questions and then actually absorb the answers. Most people are so desperate to talk about themselves that they will hand you their entire psychological blueprint if you simply give them the floor. Hoard the data. Keep meticulous mental or physical notes regarding the key information people reveal: their fears, their core desires, their recurring professional challenges, and their ultimate goals. This data becomes exponentially valuable when deployed later. Cross-reference behavior. Pay acute attention to how people behave under pressure, when they are stressed, angry, or overly comfortable. These emotional patterns are reliable predictors of future behavior. When multiple, unconnected people offer consistent data about the same situation, you begin to see the true strategic landscape that remains invisible to everyone else. The strategic deployment of knowledge. You must adopt a rigorous information-sharing strategy. Give less, gain more. Share only useful information that encourages others to reciprocate, but always ensure you receive significantly more than you give. Timing is leverage. Recognize that the same piece of information can be worthless at one time and absolutely priceless at another. Learn to recognize the precise moments when disclosure will yield maximum impact. Controlled utility. Give people just enough information to be helpful in the immediate task, but never enough to make them a danger to your overall position. Imagine you are entering a critical negotiation. You have done your pre-research, knowing the adversary's background, their recent financial losses, and their current challenges. The unprepared person relies solely on their prepared script, treating the negotiation as a transactional exchange. The strategist uses information asymmetry. You subtly reference their recent challenges, not to mock, but to shape the discussion around their immediate need for a quick win versus your patience. You understand their fear of loss, which is a stronger motivator than their hope for gain, giving you massive psychological leverage before the first word is even spoken. The absolute winner is the one with the most accurate intelligence. The person who makes the best decisions wins the most games. Number 5, the status elevator. Leverage through elevation. The average person attempts to elevate their own status by making others look inferior. This is stupid, exhausting, and fundamentally short-sighted. The moment you publicly diminish someone, they become permanently invested in your failure. The true power move is the opposite. You make yourself look excellent by strategically making others look excellent. When you successfully elevate others, they become psychologically invested in your long-term success. Machiavelli provided the foundational truth for this strategy. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Smart leaders understand that surrounding yourself with capable, strong people does not make you weaker. It dramatically enhances your own perceived strength. Conversely, weak leaders surround themselves only with weak individuals, sycophants who pose no threat, and then genuinely wonder why nothing great is ever achieved. The blueprint for alliance building. You must transform into a meticulous architect of loyalty, public credit, private correction. Always ensure you grant others public credit for good ideas and successful contributions, especially in visible forums. This makes them fiercely loyal to you because you were the source of their public esteem. When an individual makes a mistake, address it privately, surgically, and with respect. Public humiliation creates enemies. Private coaching creates loyal allies. Acknowledge and validate. Everyone possesses something they are intrinsically proud of. Your job is to observe and genuinely acknowledge it. Find that core competence and offer specific, sincere praise. Become the connector. Actively facilitate opportunities for others. Become known as the indispensable connector, the person who introduces others to beneficial networks, resources, or alliances. When people know that their own success is consistently linked to your presence, they will share valuable information with you and actively work to see you win. Imagine a high-level meeting where a subordinate offers a critical but slightly rough suggestion. The naive person polishes the idea, presents it as their own, and accepts the credit. Result: the subordinate feels stolen from, leading to internal resentment and sabotage. The strategic person immediately highlights the subordinate. That core insight came directly from Jane's analysis. Jane, can you briefly elaborate on the cost savings? Result: Jane receives public status and feels indebted to you. She will now be fiercely loyal, associating her success and good feelings directly with your leadership. When you deliberately make someone look good, they attach those positive emotions to you. When they think about you, they feel empowered and motivated to help you succeed. The most powerful people are not those who stand alone. They are those who have vast armies of capable people who genuinely want to see them win because they know their own elevation is directly tied to your continued success. This is not manipulation. It is the strategic creation of a resilient, high-leverage alliance network. Number 6. The inevitable force. Manufacturing momentum. Momentum is the engine of all conquest. The fundamental truth is this: people possess a deep primal instinct to join winning teams and avoid losing ones. Once your environment becomes psychologically convinced that your success is inevitable, they immediately begin investing their resources and support to help ensure that outcome, because they desperately want to be on the winning side when it arrives. The average man focuses exclusively on his current limitations and daily problems. The strategist focuses on deliberately creating the perception of inevitable, undeniable success. The architecture of belief. Your mission is to construct this belief system in the minds of your audience. Start with small, visible victories. Begin by setting and achieving small, measurable goals you know you can conquer. Each small win serves as a brick of credibility for the larger claims you will make later. Strategic documentation. Keep meticulous track of your improvements, not just internally, but externally. Share measurable progress points strategically. People are not moved by wishes, they are moved by verifiable evidence of advancement. Language of certainty. You must completely eliminate the language of hope and doubt. Stop saying, "I hope to achieve this." Start declaring, "When I achieve this," or "This will be completed by." Give specific, non-negotiable timelines. "I will secure this position by next quarter." Sounds overwhelmingly more inevitable than "Someday I want to move up." Visible preparation. You must visibly build the tools, acquire the skills, forge the connections, and amass the resources needed for your goals. When people see you preparing, they believe you are genuinely serious. To understand the difference between wishing and willing, picture a major project you are spearheading with external stakeholders. The struggling leader emphasizes the difficulties, says, "We might fail, but we're trying hard," and delays sharing updates, fearing bad news. Result: stakeholders pull support. The strategist maintains the narrative of inevitability. When a challenge arises, you don't hide it. You present it as a temporary roadblock on an inevitable journey. This is just the next problem to solve on the way to the goal. You frame every crisis not as a threat, but as a necessary, anticipated test that merely confirms the difficulty of the prize. The self-fulfilling prophecy, this human instinct to join likely winners, is profound. When people believe your success is inevitable, they start actively investing their energy, resources, and even their reputation into your success because they want to benefit directly from the coming victory. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When others believe you can't fail, they subconsciously help ensure that you don't fail. However, this strategy carries an absolute risk. False inevitability is exposed quickly, and it will destroy your credibility forever. Your claims must be rooted in demonstrated competence and relentless execution. The perceived momentum must be genuine. Number 7. Leverage through indispensability. Most men mistakenly believe that absolute independence is the peak of power. While personal strength is valuable, complete self-reliance is strategically insufficient for influence. Real systemic power is achieved by deliberately positioning yourself as the center of other people's success. When powerful individuals or groups depend on you for resources, knowledge, or connections they value, you instantly become irreplaceable. And when you are irreplaceable, you possess absolute, non-negotiable leverage. Machiavelli cautioned against ideological distraction. He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation. This means your focus must be on what people actually need from you, not what you ideally think they should need. The architecture of indispensability. Your strategic goal is to build a dependency web where flows of value, information, resources, and access run primarily through you. Develop rare competence. Master abilities that are undeniably valuable, yet which others lack the time, will, or skill to learn themselves. Become the singular go-to person for a critical, difficult problem. Control the flow of information. Become the individual who not only knows what is happening, but who connects people with the intelligence and specific contacts they desperately need. Harness resources. Gain access to or control over resources, be they financial, technical, or social, that others require regularly. Network heterogeneously. Build deep functional relationships with people from many different industries and domains. This transforms you into an indispensable connector. When someone needs help outside their immediate circle, you become the essential link. The asymmetry of power. The ultimate goal is to create asymmetrical dependency. You want multiple individuals and systems to depend heavily on you, but you must avoid becoming heavily dependent on any single person or system yourself. You create multiple income streams, multiple alliances, and multiple options for every critical aspect of your life. When your livelihood depends on one person, they control you. When multiple powerful entities depend on you for different things, you control the entire ecosystem. Imagine a community or workplace setting. You are the only person who can reliably and quickly solve the complex technology failures. You also run a monthly networking dinner that connects professionals across 3 different industries. The result is systemic dependency. Your ability to fix their laptop and connect them to their next client means they must treat you with profound respect and caution, ensuring your own needs are met, not out of kindness but out of strategic necessity. The key is making yourself this valuable resource by choice, not obligation. You are not a servant. You are the sovereign who manages a critical resource, ensuring your help is delivered strategically and sustainably. Number 8. Shaping the narrative. The vast majority of men passively accept the reality that is presented to them. They allow others to define what is possible, what is normal, and what is acceptable. This default stance immediately makes them followers, not leaders. Leaders actively shape reality. They don't just respond to the world as it exists. They fundamentally influence how everyone else sees, interprets, and responds to that world. Machiavelli understood that simplicity is a fatal flaw in the masses. Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. This principle is not a license for crude lying. It is about understanding that perception shapes behavior, and the true strategist helps people see better possibilities by carefully framing present situations to emphasize the aspects you want them to focus on. The identical situation can be presented as a catastrophic problem or as a challenging, high-leverage opportunity, solely depending on your narrative control. The blueprint for narrative control. Your power lies in becoming the architect of shared belief, normalization of the new. When you introduce something radically new or different, present it as if it is the most natural, logical, and inevitable course of action. Do not apologize or seek validation. Just execute it with quiet confidence, as if it is obviously the superior approach. Strategic language. Use specific words and phrases that surgically shape how people think about complex situations. The words you deliberately choose determine the emotions people attach to the circumstance. For instance, instead of saying, "This is a disaster and a problem," you state, "This is an opportunity to prove what our capabilities truly are." Same situation, different reality. Future pacing. Paint compelling, detailed pictures of a possible future that inspire people to work tirelessly toward that outcome. People require a clear, inspiring destination before they will dedicate their energy to the difficult journey. Action over permission. Gradually and deliberately change what is considered normal behavior in your environment. Instead of asking for permission to test a new, potentially risky approach, just try it and then present the successful results. As the saying goes, sometimes it is strategically more efficient to ask for forgiveness than to beg for permission. Challenging limitation. Instead of passively accepting the limiting beliefs others impose, introduce new high-potential possibilities. What if we could actually double our projection? What would that look like in terms of execution? This forces them to mentally reorganize their boundaries. The individual who controls the narrative controls the decisions. The individual who controls the decisions controls the outcomes. Remember this essential truth. Reality is far more flexible than most people are conditioned to believe. The people who understand this power become the forces that shape the world. The people who remain blind to it get shaped by every random force the world applies. Number 9. The immortality strategy. Systems over self. Here is the ultimate secret that decisively separates temporary, fleeting influence from true, lasting power. Immortal influence is achieved by building systems and ideas that continue working, achieving, and influencing long after your personal presence has vanished. The average person focuses all their energy on personal power, being important, being needed in the moment, being personally respected. That power is fragile. It dies when you die, or even when you simply leave the room. Real, enduring power comes from building something fundamentally bigger than yourself that carries your influence forward forever. Machiavelli's strategic trade-off. Since love and fear can hardly exist together if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved, has an ultimate evolution. It is better to be remembered. Fear and love are volatile and eventually fade. Systems, philosophies, and documented ideas last forever. The architecture of enduring influence. You must dedicate a portion of your strategic effort to building vehicles for your thought, frameworks, and processes. Build reliable processes, methods, or strategic frameworks that solve persistent problems. When people successfully use your system, whether it's a business model, a decision process, or a negotiation technique, they are actively extending your influence and confirming its validity. Influencing the influencers. Focus some of your limited energy on empowering and educating people who themselves influence large groups. When you influence an influencer, your impact multiplies exponentially. Documentation as immortality. Stop letting valuable knowledge die with you. Knowledge that exists only in your head is erased upon your final exit. Knowledge that is documented, formalized, and shared lives forever. Write down your core insights, strategic methodologies, and lessons learned. Creating vessels of thought. Establish groups, communities, or institutions, be they physical or digital, that operate according to your core values and strategic vision. Organizations possess the capacity to outlive their founders by centuries. Think bigger than personal victories. Instead of just solving problems yourself, create solutions that others can easily use to solve similar problems. Instead of just succeeding in isolation, help dozens of people succeed using your standardized methods. Imagine you develop a highly effective, repeatable way to handle chronic organizational bottlenecks. The average person keeps this knowledge secret to maintain job security. The strategist documents the method, formalizes it into a framework, and teaches it to 3 trusted colleagues. Now, dozens of people are using your method. Your thinking influences people you've never met, and your personal legacy is secured because the system you built cannot be fired, quit, or die. The most powerful people in history are not remembered just for what they personally accomplished. They are remembered for the systems, ideas, and organizations they built that continued accomplishing things after they were gone. You now possess the 9 psychological weapons that have been used by the most influential people throughout history. But here is the brutal truth that separates those who learn these secrets from those who master them. Immediate, decisive action. Knowledge without application is merely expensive entertainment. So here is your final mandate. Right now, before you click away, identify one of these 9 strategies and commit to using it today. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but today. Because the cost of waiting is another week, month, or year spent being influenced instead of being influential. You have already paid that price for too long. The person who shapes the world makes a critical choice. They choose to be effective over being popular. They choose to be remembered over being comfortable. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I choose power over being liked. I build legacies. Remember, your influence is not a theory. It is a tool. Go use it.